beautiful in a stylish silk crepe morning gown that skimmed her ankles. A cunning little toque perched atop her unswept dark hair, and she wore a gold locket clasped around her neck. Rowena held out her hand, and, relieved, Prudence reached out and clasped it with her own. Without letting go of either girl, she and Victoria scooted past the Earl to join Rowena. They stood as the rest of the procession solemnly made their way to their proper places, but Prudence, thankful to be tucked firmly between the two people she loved best in the world, took no notice. A lump rose in her throat as she caught sight of the ornate casket, draped with a full spray of lilies, carnations, and palm fronds. The only reason she was here, clutching Rowena's and Victoria's hands in hers, instead of shrinking into the background with the other servants, was the kindness of the man who lay inside. After Prudence's father had died, her mother, who had worked at Sir Philip's estate as a girl, had been sent to attend to Rowena and Victoria's ailing mother. When his wife died, Sir Philip asked her to stay on to help raise the girls, and Prudence, exactly between his daughters in age, became part of the family. Prudence, who volunteered her time at several different poorhouses in the city, knew exactly what happened to young girls left alone in the world. She would forever be grateful to Sir Philip for not allowing that to happen to her. She blinked away her tears and occupied herself by looking at the rest of the congregation. Only a few looked familiar. Among them were Rupert Brooke, the high-strung and handsome young poet, Ben Tillett, the iron-jawed union leader, and Roger Fry, the controversial artist responsible for bringing London's shocked attention to post-impressionism some years prior. These were some of Sir Philip's friends, a motley collection of artists, intellectuals, and misfits. Because the Earl had arranged the funeral, most of the people in attendance were his peers, men from the House of Lords and others from the cream of London society. Sir Philip would have hated it. The beautiful gold arches and polished marble of St. Bride's Church gleamed, just as they had the few times the family had attended church. Sir Philip had chosen St. Bride's because, as he used to say, Sir Christopher Wren built the kind of church that God might actually enjoy. Gradually, Prudence became aware of a young man staring at her from across the aisle. Her eyes darted in his direction, then away. Moments later, unable to help herself, she glanced back to see whether he was still looking at her. He was. She turned slightly and stared fixedly at the bronze candelabra to the left of him, her cheeks burning. Victoria leaned around her to whisper to Rowena. "Look, Lord Billingsley has noticed our Prudence." "I'm right here," Prudence whispered, and gave both their hands a hard squeeze for emphasis. She didn't look his way again. Once the service started, Prudence sank into a well of grief that threatened to drown her. The waves of it lapped at her from all sides, covered her head, and made sight almost impossible. Inside, her heart broke, and a waterfall of sorrow poured from the cracks. On one side, Victoria sobbed quietly, while Rowena's stiff resolve buoyed her from the other. She clung to their hands as the service passed in a blur of speeches. They remained that way until it was time to get into the ornate black and gold funeral carriages that would take them back to their home in Mayfair for the reception. Behind the carriages stood a line of motor cars. Most of the wealthy guests had long given up their carriages for the convenience and speed of automobiles. The Earl himself had several, and Sir Philip's sleek Eton blue Belsize sat idle in the carriage house. The Earl insisted on traditional horse-drawn carriages. "Miss Tate will ride in the staff carriage." The Earl's voice broke no opposition, and his square jaw firmed. Prudence knew that look. Rowena's pretty face held the same expression when she got all stubborn about something. Victoria's eyes widened. "Prudence rides with